Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and certainly having yourselves a fantastic start to your day and weekend. Got you a pretty in-depth video this morning. We're going to work through it nice and slow. It's going to probably be one of my longest videos ever. Just because there's multiple areas to really speak on. And I want to let you guys know right off the dot that the Storm Prediction Center drops another update here in about an hour, hour and a half, and it could totally change from what I'm about to show you. I'm making this video as of around 7:15, 7:25 a.m. So some of this information may change. It's not that I'm deliberately giving you guys old information. It's just this is when I make my videos in the mornings, and I will definitely give you guys a link of what does change on the next update here in the next hour or two. But there's a lot to talk about. We're going to zoom into these individual areas. There's a high chance I'll miss somebody, so I do apologize in advance. But I'm really thinking we could have a pretty decent tornado threat for August standards across areas of southern Indiana, maybe western sections of Kentucky, certain areas of Illinois. We have what we call an MCV, mesoscale convective vortex. It's literally a spin over land. This morning, not so much anymore now, even though you can still see the spin. This morning, it literally looked like a Category 1 hurricane over portions of Illinois, western Illinois this morning. Pretty wild. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about you folks in Oklahoma, Kansas, areas of Colorado that have an enhanced risk already. And then we'll talk about a tornado threat also and a severe weather threat for areas of the north central U.S. We'll talk about everybody. We'll work through this video a little bit differently. We'll talk about the Midwest first, and we'll just kind of work through it different. And that's why we put these tabs in these videos that you guys could just skip to where you want to hear. So, with that being said, if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like. It goes a long way. I spend a lot of time on these videos, and your support is certainly appreciated. We have a wonderful family-type atmosphere here if you are viewing for the first time. We can look out for one another. We pray for one another. So definitely welcoming anybody who certainly wants to, move to the family, subscribe to the channel, and certainly consider liking that video. I'm heading to the beach this weekend. This morning for the with the family, with my two little girls, and we're just taking a day trip to Folly Beach again, and just asking for prayers we get there safely and they're back. So with that being said, I won't be able to get to a lot of your comments today until later this evening after the weather's already going downhill. So if I miss any questions that you dropped this morning, I do apologize. If you folks have anything I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can do so too. Let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. We always like to show this, and it looks like I lost my cursor. That's weird. When I pulled it up and I was preparing this video, it was up, but I guess it's gone right now. That's all. It's all good. No worries at all. Not a whole lot's changed from, when I was breaking it down yesterday morning and yesterday evening. We got the ridge that's sort of flattened out. It's over the south central U.S. So you folks in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, once again, very hot today. Nothing's changing with that. The thing that we have now is this upper low with the associated surface low. This is riding across areas of the northern plains and north central U.S. This will promote a severe weather threat right into here across Nebraska, but I think there'll be some kind of lull in the activity in Nebraska. And then we already got activity ongoing in Kansas, but more activity will get going in Kansas, Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas, potentially extreme eastern areas of Colorado later this evening, where we could get multi-clusters of storms that could be very intense, damaging winds, large hail, a huge threat with this. So we need to watch out. Right here, you see this white color. This is over Illinois. This is our MCV, mesoscale convective vortex. We talk about mesoscale convective systems, which is basically just a nasty line of storm that normally produces sometimes damaging winds and even a tornado threat, even some hail in it sometimes. But this is a vortex. It literally is about the same thing, but it has a spin to it. You can actually visibly see a spin with this, what I'm about to show you here in a second. But this is what's going on here. This will bring its own ingredients into this thing as we work our way into the afternoon hours. This will promote a severe weather threat for southern Indiana and those other areas I just mentioned, Illinois, Kentucky, later today. And then we're just going to have to watch regular kind of flow that moves through areas of the deep south today that could produce a line of storms or two out there. We take a look at what's going on right now. This storm is severe warned here in southern areas of Kansas. We got a complex of storms moving through this region right now. We'll see what this does over the next several hours until later in the morning hours. But this will probably dissipate, I'm thinking. Now, this could work its way downstream into Arkansas, and then another line of storms out ahead of it could get going that's kind of originates from this same piece of energy that you see over Oklahoma and Kansas. But this is the spin, and we'll even take another look at this here in a second. But this is the spin I'm talking about. There's nothing severe warm with it right now. Okay, and there's two areas. You got this area of storms right here in southern Illinois, western Kentucky that you're waking up to this morning, some boomers out there. But this is a gnarly little feature. This is what stuff where weather geeks really geek out over, meteorologists. This is the kind of stuff that makes them their kind of passion ooze for weather. Now, right now, there's no severe warm sections of this storm. Nothing severe warm, but this is producing a lot of rain over kind of the same area just because it's moving very, very slowly. You got flash flood warnings over portions, a very small section of western Illinois. This is dumping a lot of rain, probably a few inches of rain. So this is what's going on with this. This will continue to very slowly chug across Illinois into areas of Indiana, and then ingredients will build in underneath this thing, and we could have some pretty nasty storms here in extreme southeastern sections of Illinois, southern Indiana, western Kentucky later today. And then associated with the actual surface low, you got a pretty slow moving spin up here. This is our surface low. Typically around the surface low and just north, severe weather threat is typically pretty low, especially north of the low. It normally just drops a whole lot of rain. But as this continues to slowly drift across South Dakota today, we will watch this section right into here that could really get some pretty intense storms going that could have an isolated tornado threat. We have to watch this. We'll talk about all this in the video. Just kind of want to show you guys what's going on right now. The Storm Prediction Center, we got the enhanced risk right over here over the southern plains. This includes northern Oklahoma, southern areas of Kansas, a section of southeast Colorado, and even a section of extreme southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. Okay, this includes Wichita, Tulsa, almost down to Oklahoma City. Woodward, somebody said the second W in Woodward is silent. So, hey, that's going to be a tough one. Woodard maybe is how you say it. But anyways, we're not going to spend a ton of time on trying to get names right. I need to stop spending so much time on that and just roll with it. But certainly Dodge City, this is the area that has the highest confidence for significant severe weather today. But I'm telling you, I could see this area, a very small enhanced risk, getting introduced here in southern Indiana today. And I'll talk about why. Tornado risk, 2%. There's a below a 2% risk in this area right in here. Pretty wild, huh? There's a 2% risk of a tornado right up here in the north central U.S. areas in the Midwest. This includes areas of South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska. Then you got the 2% risk of a tornado, which does include areas of Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky. But check it out. You got a 5% risk of a tornado. Okay, once you start to bump up to a 5% risk, that's when you start to really take the tornado threat serious. And I really need you guys, I'm telling you, if you hear anything in this video, if you live out here, please take the tornado threat serious. This is the same kind of setup, even though this one is much larger. This is the same kind of micro kind of setup, if you will, that caused that EF3 tornado around the Raleigh area a few weeks back. Okay, there was a less than 2% risk of a tornado when the day started. They bumped it up to a 2% risk. We ended up getting an EF3 tornado. Okay, this is the kind of same setup. Mesoscale convective vortex, 5% risk of a tornado. So those include Evansville, Louisville, almost all the way up to Indianapolis, everybody in between. Wind threats, we have a chance for significant winds, a 30% risk of winds exceeding 50 knots or higher. That's 55 to 60 miles per hour. And you see this entire blackout line region. And that's, the yellow is the 15% risk of the same criteria, but the blackout line region with the black dashes going into it, that is a hatched risk of winds. That means there's a 10% chance of significant winds, which means there's a 10% risk of winds exceeding 65 knots or higher. That's around 75 miles per hour and mile per hour readings or higher. That's over hurricane force winds. Okay, so you got that. Then you got the hail threat. Okay, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, but you have a 30% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger within 25 miles in any given location. And then you got the hatch risk, which is a 10% risk of significant hail, which is 2 inch in diameter or larger hail in this region. Okay, this goes from Denver all the way to Dodge City. I mean, portions of the panhandle of Oklahoma, places like that. Then you got the general 15% risk everywhere else. Okay, so this is big day today, big August day for sure. Flash flooding risks, there somewhere in here could get upgraded to a moderate risk. There is a slight risk in the same area that we need to watch out for this MCV. That means there's at least a 15% risk in these slight yellow areas of flash flood guidance being exceeded. So we got a pretty large area around this surface low, and rightfully so. This is producing some very slow moving rain with a very drifting surface low that's really just kind of cut off from the main flow of things. This kind of cut off upper level low, if you will. And so we need to watch these areas for flooding. So watches, warnings, advisories, excessive heat warnings up for the purple. This is just another day, another dollar, another day of just intense heat down here where the ridge is still in place as high pressure is dominating this one area right in here. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, you're going to be begging probably for some storms to cool you guys down. But unfortunately, with so much heating in the atmosphere becomes unstable, and typically you get pretty intense storms. Flood watches up for these green areas right in here. Some dense fog advisories out there. So let's get rolling. And like I said, we're going to just kind of move our way through this at a slow pace so we don't twist some words up, we don't mess this up for you folks, and we can get as detailed as possible. Let's talk about the north central U.S. first. So there's two areas to watch for this. There's the area associated around the immediate surface low, and then there's this mesoscale convective vortex that we need to watch. So we're going to speak on this one first, but we'll take a broad look at this. This is the idea, this area today, and then this area. And I don't want to, neglect Nebraska. Nebraska, you do have a pretty large slight risk that expands to a large chunk of the state. Okay, but this might be an area where you don't have a lot of widespread storm activity unless you're in extreme northeast Nebraska or southwest Nebraska. Right in the middle, might not get a lot of storm development today. We'll see what happens, but this is kind of the broad look at what happens over the next 24 hours. Now, let's zoom in to my folks, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky first. Just focus right here. You got a slight risk. This does include, let's might as well say Indianapolis. This does include Louisville. This does include Evansville, Bloomington, Columbus, and everybody in between, down the 69 corridor, down the 65 corridor, right into here. Okay, you got the slight risk, level 2 out of 5. Tornado risk, closer look. Okay, brown area, 5% risk of a tornado. Okay, hail threat, pretty low with this. Wind threat, pretty low. Now, this could change. So please, when you're looking at this right now, if you're watching this video, it's important to go to the Storm Prediction Center. All you got to do is literally type in Storm Prediction Center on Google, and it'll say Day 1 Outlook, and that is the latest information. This could very well broaden. This could upgrade to an enhanced risk. I'm just telling you right off the dot. In fact, by the time that this video uploads, because this is going to be a later one, it might not upload fully until about 8:15, 8:30. We could very well have another update. So I just want to let you guys know. It bothers me when I drop a video and it changes so much. It's like, dang, I just kind of did that for no reason. But just really, this is the thing you really want to focus on, the ingredients and what the model guidance is showing what could potentially happen today. So we'll start off here. This is what the HRRR model was saying, what's happening around 7 a.m. Now it's around, around 6:38 a.m. right now when I'm making this video. So this is pretty much what the HRRR model is saying is happening right now, and it's not doing a terrible job. Okay, it shows convection down here in southern Illinois, and this is the spin that we're talking about. Now this is radar scope, certainly another way to look at it. Peoria, you're definitely experiencing a lot of heavy rain, some heavy kind of rounds of rain moving through Springfield. This will get very close to the Champaign area. I'm not sure if y'all say Champaign or Champaign, but I'm just going to roll with Champaign area. And this will continue. It's moving very slowly. Look at this little kind of comma head right here. Man, it is just so slow. So what we watch for, and we can actually draw on this, is as this continues to make its way this way, ingredients will build up into this region right into here. Okay, dew points will rise into the low to mid 70s. Cape values will exceed probably over 2,000 joules per kilogram. So this is the worry zone right into here, later today. It really is. This is the area we need to watch as basically this convection down here clears out. Let's hope it doesn't materialize, but man, I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about this. Hopefully I'm wrong. So let's talk about what the HRRR model says is going to happen today. So we keep this in motion. We're going to have to click up here. We get this in motion. If you hear any vibration on the monitor or anything like that, my phone's down here going crazy. We take it out. We get to about mid-morning, just dealing with some heavy rain up here and say south of Chicago, basically along that 74 corridor. Okay, heavy rain starts to get closer to Danville, overspreading the Champaign region, gets into Lafayette, and then bang, here's these storms that begin to develop right at the Illinois-Indiana state line, right over Danville area. Okay, this starts to get close and maybe just south of the Lafayette region, and then we'll stop it right here. Now, we'll actually stop it right here. It's around 5 p.m. Central Time, Indiana time. Okay, this is some pretty intense storms that will likely be popping off. There will be a tornado threat with this area of storms. This could very well be down here. It could be more so over here. It could be a little bit deeper into Illinois, but regardless, this entire area. What do y'all call that? Terre Haute? Terrehaute. I've always shied away from trying to pronounce that. I just said I won't spend a lot of time trying to pronounce names, but here I am. You know, guys, I don't tell the truth when it comes to that. But definitely let me know how you pronounce that. But that area right there, basically that 70 corridor that goes from Effingham, Illinois, all the way to Indianapolis. This could be intense for that region right here. We take it to about, 7 p.m. Bloomington, down that 69 corridor. These storms could very well be more widespread near Evansville. They really could. And then these just kind of move throughout the evening hours through southern Indiana. And I'm telling you, there is going to be some rotating updrafts, some rotating storms embedded in this line of storms. Even watch out down here near Owensboro, Elizabethtown, maybe even Bowling Green, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Paducah, Mayfield. Watch out for these storms later on. You're already dealing with some storms this morning. Some more storms could really get going. I just really want to watch out for this region right here. So we'll go through this really one more time. Starts off, I would say, 2 to 3 p.m. These storms develop, start to slash through southern Indiana, could develop as far west as Illinois. They could extend as far south as western Tennessee. Okay, and then they move through. And for you folks worried in like Ohio, because I know I got some people in Ohio. Faye, I know you're in Ohio and you worry about these storms. I don't blame you. I think this kind of fades away by the time it enters Ohio. But certainly tomorrow will be another risk day that we won't get into in this video. But very well around midnight tonight, we could be dealing with a line of storms sweeping through areas of Tennessee and Kentucky that could be producing some damaging winds and some severe weather. We'll talk about the ingredients, and here it is. This is kind of the boundary that this MCV is setting, its own boundary, if you will. You keep this rolling here, and come on, work with me. It's going to make me click it again. We get this going, and look at these dew points that really kind of begin to really get higher in southern Illinois. They start to rise into the mid 70s, and then look as they spike into the mid, even some upper 70 dew points into this region of southern Indiana. It's going to get very, it's already, I'm sure, very humid, but it's going to get very, very humid in western Kentucky later today. Dew points might exceed 80 degrees. So the atmosphere is definitely, you can check out moist air off in the box of ingredients for severe weather. This is definitely going to be there as this. You can see a little spin. You see how these dew points kind of wrap up to this spin right into here. Okay, so this literally is its own kind of low pressure, this surface low, and it kind of brings in ripe conditions for severe weather into this region. And this will be the case as it brings in a very rich, moist field that is already rich, but it gets even more rich. So with that, you're going to have most likely enhanced CAPE. So you keep going through in time, the CAPE begins to build back in. Look at this CAPE down here in the Boot Hill, Missouri, over 3,500 joules per kilogram in these areas. And then look, you see how this all meets to one point and then it significantly drops off in this area right here of Illinois and Indiana. This little sector right here that this vortex creates, this is going to bring in CAPE values that are going to exceed well over 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram. This is a ton of fuel to the atmosphere. So I'm telling you, watch out in this region. Okay. That is, your ingredients are there. Okay, you look at this updraft velocity swath. This basically indicates where storms will. This is basically trying to indicate where the HRR model is saying where the storms it is showing on this particular run could be rotating, and it really likes this area north of Evansville, kind of between the Interstate 70 and 69 corridor right into here. It really likes these storms to be spinning, but I'm telling you, this could very well be a little bit further south into Kentucky, but this region right into here, okay? This is just indicating, I show you guys this just to kind of verify what the ingredients are showing. You compare it with the updraft velocity swath, and if it really shows some highlighted colors here showing high probability of some rotating updrafts, that really helps me to grow in confidence that we're going to have a tornado threat today. So we got that. We also got a lot of rain that's going to fall. Okay, so if you're in Indianapolis, points west along that Interstate 70 corridor, you guys, 2 to 3 inches of rain today. A lot of rain is going to fall here in the next several hours here into areas of eastern Illinois. Okay, there's going to be a stripe of pretty heavy rain, 2, 3, maybe as much as 4 inches of rain. It's already rained a lot, and it's still continuing to rain in western and central Illinois as I speak right now. So please be careful in this region today. If there's one region that I think is going to overperform, it's what I just spoke on. Okay, not trying to super hype anything up, but it's just, I don't know, just got a feeling. Surface low is going to spin around here in the Dakotas. As we get into about lunchtime, 1 p.m., just south, southeast, and east of this surface low, ingredients build in, so some of these storms become strong to severe. Here in areas of South Dakota, and I'll try to mention some names in South Dakota, certainly need to watch out. I would say if there's one city I'd watch out for, it's definitely Sioux Falls, Mitchell, Brookings, that 90 corridor, Interstate 90. These storms get very strong, even to severe, and there's going to be a tornado threat with this. Some hail is possible, some gusty winds, strong winds, and this is around 4 to 5 p.m. this afternoon. I would just, if you're in southeast areas of South Dakota, northwest sections of Iowa, southwest sections of Minnesota, and then northeast sections of Nebraska, these will pack a punch later today. This afternoon, then working its way into the evening. These will be fast-moving storms. Typically, the storm motion is much quicker the closer you are to a surface low, and this will certainly be the case today. So definitely be careful. Sioux City, Sioux Falls, the Highway 60 corridor, Norfolk, Nebraska. I mean, maybe even as far south as Omaha. You guys could see some storms today. I would watch out. Just typical rain this morning, and then these storms quickly develop. I really think we could get some tornadoes in this region of southeast South Dakota later today. And this continues to spin, and then this rain continues to make its way through Iowa, and this surface low will continue to very, very slowly drift eastward and create a severe weather threat for our Sunday. But you look at the ingredients with this, same kind of stuff, guys. Dew points, a surge, and what will be somewhat of a triple point with this surface low. So dew points will spike into the upper 60s, low 70s into this region. This will help really increase the Cape into this region, but there's definitely going to be a very moist corridor here in eastern South Dakota, and definitely Iowa, Nebraska, extreme southwest sections of Minnesota today. So your moist air, check that off the box too. Same thing with this area. And then you look at the Cape values into this region. Not super high, but you don't need them to be that high when you're very close to a surface low. Cape values just around 1,000 joules per kilogram or higher is definitely enough for severe weather. And you're going to have that. You're going to have some Cape values reaching all the way up to over 1,500 joules per kilogram in this region. And you got to watch out this area for a tornado threat. And, the updraft velocity swath from the HRR model is not super excited about it. But, it definitely warrants that 2% risk. So definitely be careful. There's a couple little highlighted colors here indicating some rotating updrafts. We want to be aware of this tornado threat in this region of the country today. Rain, we'll continue to see a lot of it, another 2 to 3 inches if possible in portions of South Dakota, even some heavy rain in the southern counties of North Dakota, southwest Minnesota could get an inch or so of rain, and then northwest Iowa could get a good bit of rain today, and also 1.25 inches possible at highest, maybe 1.5 inches of rain, certainly possible. So, that's a mouthful. I feel like we're working through this pretty well, though. Hope you guys are definitely latching on some info, and this is helping you folks out. South Central U.S., take a broad look at what's going on first, and we'll stop it here. This is around 4 p.m. Central Time. We got storms over northern Arkansas, maybe some storms around the Boot Hill, Missouri, some storms and kind of northeast, eastern sections of Oklahoma, even some big storms. These could be significant. And the panhandle of Oklahoma, cannot rule these out. And then as we make our way deeper into the evening, 9, 10 p.m., very scattered about, strong to severe storms pretty much everywhere in Oklahoma. Well, not everywhere, but many areas in Oklahoma, Kansas, and then it becomes a lot more widespread. And we can be dealing with a pretty rocky overnight hours for this region. So let's get closer. Let's talk about Colorado first. Colorado will be tricky. You could get 1, 2, maybe as much as 3 powerful storms that fire up. These could produce some very large hail. So if you're in eastern Colorado, especially southeastern Colorado, definitely be aware. Just be weather aware. I wouldn't cancel any outdoor activities necessarily because these storms could be very discreet, very isolated, I guess I would say. But whoever gets hit by one of these, damaging winds and very large hail is possible. You have a significant threat of hail in Denver today. So be careful, as early as mid-afternoon to late afternoon to the evening hours. You could get, look at this storm right down here around 9 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m. here in southeast Colorado. This looks pretty intense. And even some more showers and storms developing in southeast Colorado into the overnight hours. So please be careful with these. Very large hail, damaging winds, cranks up as early as mid-afternoon, lasts throughout the overnight hours. And, it's a great day in Colorado to have radar scope or radar Omega or reliable radar. So we're going to talk about Oklahoma, Kansas, the panhandle of Texas in this panel. This will be a tough area. It's just trying to figure out the storm mode. We could be dealing with some morning and afternoon convection in this region. It's very possible. We could be dealing with some strong and severe storms around the Amarillo area, even the panhandle of Oklahoma. But as we move into the late afternoon, early evening time frame, I think these storms become much more widespread. They could look totally different than what you're seeing on your screen. But you got an area of intense storms moving through areas of Kansas up there around the Interstate 70 area, north of Garden City. And then you just got widespread showers and storms that get going. There's really no structure to these storms. They could be semi-discrete. They could be clustered together. They could just be one gigantic, unorganized area of storms. And that's the difficulty with this forecast today. So I just follow the Storm Prediction Center. If you're in that northern half of Oklahoma, southern half of Kansas, even the panhandle of Texas, okay, you got to watch out. Okay, this is going to be a tricky. It's around 10 p.m. The sun's done set. You got all kinds of storm action going, okay? Dodge City, Garden City, Woodward area, Enid, or not going to spend time on it. Oklahoma City, Wichita, Hutchinson, you guys, storms basically cruising right over the Interstate 35 region right into here. These storms could produce a lot of rain too. Okay, and this is 2 o'clock in the morning. These storms are still rocking and rolling, cruising through eastern Oklahoma at this point. And so what we do know is the ingredients are there for damaging winds, large hail. Okay, they are certainly there today. It's just trying to figure out the storm mode of this. This is everywhere, right? This doesn't help us much, but these storms will produce some severe weather today. We look at the winds based off this one particular one of the HRRR model, and it does show where the storms do form some intense winds. That's 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds with this storm that's cruising through central Kansas, okay? Some strong winds, 40, 50 mile per hour winds cruising through northern Oklahoma right in the middle of the night tonight. So it's going to be an active, not just evening, but overnight hours, especially the further east you work your way into Oklahoma and southern Kansas, okay? So I know that I did not spend near as much time on the enhanced threat that I did on the slight risk, but it's a tricky setup here in Kansas today. So just be aware. If you're under any kind of severe alert, take it serious, guys. Take it serious, okay? Because the ingredients are there for some powerful storms. You look at the southeast today, there is a couple areas we need to watch. We'll watch for a cluster of storms that affects western Tennessee today. We'll watch for some pop-up activity along the Gulf Coast line, just typical summer kind of stuff. And Florida, not even going to zoom into Florida, some pop-ups down there. And then we'll watch for a line of storms that cruises across Kentucky and Tennessee tonight. You see it right in here. It's just cruising across the state, right in the middle of the night tonight. Northern Alabama also. And then we might wake up to a cluster of storms entering Arkansas. So we zoom into this region today. There is a marginal risk that extends all the way down to the Gulf coastline into this region, right into here. So some model guidance over the last several hours was indicating some kind of line of storms that basically blast through Mississippi and Alabama, areas of Louisiana. Some of the model guidance that's present now does not show that, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So we stop it here. It's around 9 p.m. You got, well, we'll stop it right here. This is around 6 p.m. You got some pretty powerful storms moving through the, Dyersburg area, Memphis. Watch out, Jackson, Tennessee. These storms are cruising through northern and central Arkansas, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have more widespread storm development going here in northern and central Mississippi than what this is showing. One bit. But the run of the HRRR model shows these storms moving eastward, northern Alabama, eastern Tennessee, and we might wake up to that cluster of storms in Arkansas. So, my folks in Georgia, the Carolinas, I think it's going to be a pretty quiet day today. You got any outdoor activities, enjoy it. I think the storm chance is pretty low. Northeast, pretty quiet weather. You could get some showers, some downpours in Maine. Very, very possible, but nothing that's going to destroy your day or anything like that. Nothing too much to worry about. Everybody else in the Northeast, quiet. Beautiful day. Nothing to be concerned about. Could be waking up to some showers in Ohio tomorrow as our stage begins to get set for another severe weather day for areas of the Ohio Valley, Midwest. So areas out west, Rockies, pretty quiet weather. Unless you're in kind of the northern Rockies area, you guys and don't want to ignore you folks, but just a general thunderstorm risk day. But, if you're in western Montana, you're going to get some widespread showers and storms. So if you're hiking, doing any outdoor activities in western Montana, northern Idaho, you're definitely going to be dealing with some showers and storms, even some showers and storm action in Yellowstone National Park, western Wyoming. But this looks very widespread in Montana for sure. So these could be some slow-moving ones too. These last throughout the late morning hours, the afternoon hours, the evening hours, into the overnight hours, waking up tomorrow morning, and it's still raining in these areas. I'm surprised there's not a slight risk into that region, but definitely be aware. Everybody else down the southwest, you don't have any rain today, just like yesterday, just quieter weather. Hot in the areas that's been hot, well over 100 degrees in the south central U.S. It's warming back up in the Carolinas and Virginia. Definitely cool weather today. 80s and 90 degree temperatures. Cooler day in the Northeast. It's been a nice week of weather. It's just going to be the last day of the week. Technically, it's just going to be nice also. Just 60s and 70s, some low 80s. The Ohio Valley, pretty nice, 80s. And then you'll watch this area of rain-cooled air into here. So, and then this pocket of cooler air right here over the northern plains with this surface low will keep temperatures in general just cool in the 50s and 60s. So, a little bit of cooler air dominating Montana as this this upper trough is setting up over this region. So definitely cooler across the northwest and northern Rockies areas, but just still very hot in the southwest. That's all I got. I actually worked through that a lot quicker than I thought I was going to. Thankfully, I thought it was going to be about 45 minutes long, but it was not. Thank God. You guys have a great day. Stay safe. I'll try to get a video out tonight, but I would say there's a lower than not chance of me doing that. So God bless all y'all. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.